Hello again, everybody. I'm Brad Silbert for the Hamilton County Television Sports Show. Special edition today brought to you by Logan Street Signs and Banners and South 10th Street in lovely downtown Noblesville. We're joined today by Hamilton Southeastern High School head basketball coach Brian Satterfield. Brian, the 2018-19 season just getting underway. Let's talk a little bit about preseason, how things went, and then transitioning into the season.
Well, I think for the preseason, we lost some key players last year, and the biggest thing was as we rolled into the summer and into the fall was just trying to get everybody acclimated. You lost two guys that were playing at the next level, and the biggest thing is they were two-way players. They did it at both ends of the floor, and so we had to put some guys into some new roles and trying to get acclimated to some things. We also, with our 7-footer, did a little bit of some changing offensively, so I think initially in the summer, it took us a little bit of time to get acclimated to that. But then after that, I think our guys really started to pick up some things, and we progressed pretty well throughout the summer. And then with the new changes in the fall, I thought that was definitely beneficial. We do have some guys that are multi-sport athletes, and we always promote it. You think about the Gary Harrises, the Randy Gregories, the Joe Wrightses that have been through, that have done some of those things, Eric Osborne, just think of some of the guys that were key players that were multi-sport athletes for us. And some of those guys that had that, and for those guys that weren't here, they didn't get the chance to get in there, but the guys that were here, we use that time wisely to just get them work on the skill levels and do some things to help them get ready for the upcoming year. And then as we rolled, but the toughest thing was between the summer and the fall, we didn't have our entire team together once due to injuries in the summer, and then with the fall sport athletes that we had there with the fall. So, and even to start our season, we had a few guys that were injured, and Mabor wasn't there. He was still nursing a little ankle injury, and not until after our first full week of practice did we have our full team together for all at once. And I think the biggest thing from that was it gave a lot of different guys opportunities to get chances to do some things, but it also gave us as coaches a chance to see what some guys could do. And the biggest thing is I think it's helped us with our depth. The one thing that we really love about this group this year is the depth that we have. I think that we're trying to use that to our advantage and hope we'll see where it takes us.
I was going to say bench strength, from my standpoint, seems to be one of the big pluses for you guys this year. Talk specifically about some of the new players that have come into the program this year and how they're fitting in for you.
Well, first you got your three returning starters. With Etherington, Smith, and Mabor, those guys are the glue that we've had, and a big part of what we've done. And again, like we said, with the 7-footer, never having a 7-footer, we tried to adjust the offense a little bit for them. And those guys have been the leaders. And the tough thing for us, though, like I mentioned, those were the three guys that were injured in the fall. So it was a little odd from that standpoint because you didn't have that leadership. But we've had other guys step up. Cole Hornbuckle, Bradley Beeman, two guys that have come in, and Chris Grubbs. He was one that was injured, and we didn't see him all summer. Those three juniors make up the core of our next set of guys that come in and do some stuff. And the one thing about Grubbs so far to this point is, he's been averaging double-digit rebounds. He's just been a man on the boards, and sort of reminds me a little bit of rebounding like our all-time leading rebounder, Zach Gunn, getting there and just not just rebounding what's in his area, but going and trying to find rebounds and also attacking the offensive glass. So, those three guys did a great job of leading in the fall, and have been those three have sort of split time in the starting lineup to this point. And then you've got Vinny Busilla, Landon Morris, two sophomores that have come in and given us quality minutes. You could tell Vinny was a little nervous to start with. I think just seeing that first varsity action got to him a little bit, but he started really to come into his own. And Landon's been doing a great job. He was one that, as we rolled into the summer, we sort of saw him a little bit on the bubble trying to figure out where he was going to fall in, but he's just been tremendous with what he's doing, and he's another one of those multi-sport athletes that we have that's we take advantage of. And he missed some of the time here in the fall, but you can tell he's really coming back into his own and doing what he showed to us this summer, and just getting guys down the floor, and also with what he's able to do inside. And then we've got some senior leaders, Brandon Miller, Chris Kotlowski, Cam Harris. Those three guys come in and also add to that depth that we have and have different dimensions that they can add. I mean, Brandon's a player that does some things in just the knowledge of the game and understanding what's going on. Chris Kotlowski this summer really showed us the way that he can shoot the ball, and hopefully he continues that. And Cam's just one that keeps coming in, and the biggest thing for him is we got to get him to get out there and do what he can do defensively. And if he does that, we'll see what happens.
Let's talk a little more specifically about the schedule you guys are up against this year, and also the HCC, which I know I'm a little bit biased, but I think the HCC, year in, year out, if it's not the top conference in the state of Indiana, it's one of the top, and you got some great competition, not only from the HCC, but just on your schedule overall.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that we've always done is, I think the past 5 years we've always been, strength of schedule has always been in the top 20, and some years it's even been in the top 10, and part of that goes to our conference schedule, but also some of the other teams that we do schedule. I mean, so far this year, I mean, we've had some of the key games that we thought might be a little bit tougher, like Fort Wayne North, with some of the what's happened there. It wasn't as strong as a game that we thought it would be rolling into it, but at the same time, it's a game where you had to travel up there 2 hours and then be ready to play. But especially for the conference, I mean, you've got teams that are loaded in there. I mean, you can see Zionsville and Brownsburg; they're both already ranked in the top 20, top 10. And, I mean, we've got to be ready to play. And we've got our big rivalry game with Fishers coming up here soon. And anytime you play that game, I mean, Coach does a great job, and we'll have them ready for that, along with all the other teams that are in the conference. And I know every time that we go into a conference battle, we've got to be ready to play. If not, we're going to come away with a loss.
You're going to do a little bit different this year for the holiday tournament. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, this was a year. I mean, we've been going up to Fort Wayne and playing in the Huntington North Classic. It was usually tied in with Columbia City. They sort of got out, but it was an opportunity. I mean, we were always playing 4 games in 2 days, and we enjoyed it. I mean, it was a great experience, but we had an opportunity this year to go participate in a little tournament in Kentucky, and it's one where they're getting us a chance to play some top-notch teams that are out of state, which is always fun. I mean, the one thing we liked about the Fort Wayne tournament, we were playing teams that we normally don't see on our schedule. But this is also one that's sort of out of state, and they've got some 4-star and 5-star players that are on the teams that we're going to be competing against, and I think that'll be good for us. Just one, get out there, travel. One, from a little team camaraderie standpoint. With the other tournaments, we didn't have a lot of downtime. I mean, it was as you were rolling, and even from a coaching standpoint, we knew who our opponents were going to be for the first day, those 2 opponents, but then that next day you could have been playing one of another 9 teams, and I know from my standpoint and the other coach's standpoint, having that less preparation of trying to get things ready and do some things like that will be a little bit more enjoyable, maybe enjoy the holiday season a little bit more, and more importantly, for the guys that we go make that trip, now we can do some little team bonding, some little activities and things like that to go along with it as well.
Well, Coach, we'd like to wish you good luck this season, and thank you for joining us today. This is Coach Brian Satterfield, head coach of the Hamilton Southeastern Royals. I'm Brad Silbert for the Hamilton County Television Sports Show, brought to you by Logan Street Signs and Banners. Thank you and good day.